Day one of the 2026 NFL Draft is in the books. So in today's video, I will be giving you guys my live reaction and opinions to every single pick of round number one. Hit the like and subscribe button if you're new and going to enjoy. Let's get into this wonderful day. And with the first overall pick, the pick hasn't actually come in, but I was like, I might as well get ahead of this one because we all know who the black and silver are taking. They took Fernando Mendoza, at least I think. If it doesn't happen, you'll see an update here. The Raiders take Fernando Mendoza, and this was the right pick. You put Mendoza in a situation where he has a brand new center who is a superstar. Genty, Brock Bowers, some pretty solid weapons on the outside. A new head coach. The new head coach gets his young quarterback to build around. You got to think those two guys are going to get the runway and the time to really mesh and have time to develop. Kirk Cousins will probably be your week one starter, but we'll see if he ends up the season as a starter. Great pick. Let's move on to the actual fun part of the draft. All right, here we go. Live reactions now. Who are the Jets going to take at number 2? Will it be Arvell Reese or David Bailey? The commish is walking to the podium. Okay, they go with David Bailey. All right, that is actually really interesting because this is a team now that was pretty aggressive in adding pieces to their edge rushing room. Joseph Osai, Kingsley Enagbari. You already had Will McDonald. So, admittedly speaking, like, I understand why they went with David Bailey because Bailey is a more well-known product. But I got to be honest with you, I really would have preferred Arvell Reese with this pick because you don't know what Reese is going to be, but what you do know is that he is a versatile chess piece that you can move anywhere you want him to go to. With Bailey, he's strictly playing off the edge. So I'm not mad at the pick because Bailey's a hell of a football player, but I would have went with Arvell Reese. Still, though, you get a really freaking awesome athletic pass rusher, so hard to be mad whenever you take a really good football player. And again, I feel like for the Jets, they're in a situation where they're just like, let's just make sure we actually get to a base. Let's not take a swing and a miss. Let's just get good football players. And that is sort of an unaggressive approach, so we'll see if that does pay dividends. All right, here we go. Third overall pick, Arizona Cardinals on the clock here. I have to imagine this is going to be either Arvell Reese or Jeremiah Love. Reese not going at number 2 completely changes what this pick could be, with Bailey going number 2 instead. So things got really messy right now with Bailey going number 2. Let's see if the Cardinals fix it up by taking Reese here. Jeremiah Love. Okay. So the Arizona Cardinals do go with the offensive player here in Jeremiah Love. Also, I'm looking this way because I'm also posting things on Twitter, so I'm sorry that I'm not looking directly at you guys. But I got to be honest with you, I think I like this pick. I'm not like completely sold on it. In fact, I did this in mock drafts like 2 months ago at this point. I've been kind of doing it off and on. I've done this, I've done Reese, I've done Bailey. Jeremiah Love, though, is somebody who I have done before because it does make sense, right? You are a team that already has Trey McBride. You have Marvin Harrison Jr. Now you finish off your set of weapons here by adding a legitimate premier home run threat that can do so many different things and just run the football in Jeremiah Love, to where now when you draft that running back in that quarterback in 2027, you're going to have a top tier tight end, a top tier wide receiver, at least you hope, and a top tier running back to go along with a top tier left tackle. And look, they have an early second round pick. Maybe they trade back into round 1 to take quarterback Ty Simpson, which we'll talk about probably later in the video if that does happen. Or they could be in a situation where maybe they go ahead and take an offensive lineman to finish off the offensive line. So I like this pick. It makes a lot of sense. I think I would have gone Arvell Reese, though, because he did fall to you. And now I'm looking at Tennessee here at number 4, and I'm like, hey, Robert Saleh, you can get your guy in Arvell Reese here, so let's see if he makes that move. All right, here we go. Number 4, Tennessee Titans. Again, I had to think this has got to be Arvell Reese here from the potential number 2 pick to number 4. Let's see. Tennessee goes with... They go with Carnell Tate. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we got a little run here of some offensive players, and you got to think, why is Arvell Reese falling right now? All right, I got to be honest with you. I'm a little bit like all over the place right now because it feels like all the mock drafts that everyone's been doing are out the table now. Arvell Reese no longer going in the top 4. Carnell Tate going at number 4. I got to be honest with you, while I like the pick because it does give your quarterback a premier weapon, I'm a little surprised here. I mean, you had Arvell Reese on the board here, somebody who can play linebacker, which they could use, somebody who can play off the edge, give you some real juice, be a versatile weapon. I know that Robert Saleh can make a lot of things happen with other defensive guys in later rounds, but you'd have to think that maybe they would have considered one here at number 4, but they do go with Carnell Tate, and I don't hate it because, like, look, you just drafted a quarterback with the number 1 pick last year. Let's get him a premier weapon. But I am a little bit surprised. So I like the pickup. I think he could be really well suited in this offense with Cam Ward's ability to hit the downfield shots. But Arvell Reese, man, what is happening? Here we go. Number 5, Giants. By the way, one more thought before we do get this Giants pick. With Arvell Reese now falling past number 4, other guys like Caleb Downs, Sonny Styles, Mansour Delane, Bain still on the board here. I wonder if we're actually going to start to see a little bit less trade conversation now, because it does feel like there's a number of offensive players who are going a little bit earlier than expected. We still got some picks to be kind of figuring out here, but I think number 6 with Cleveland is going to be very interesting to see if a team does trade up, especially if the Giants do not go with Arvell Reese. Even though, actually, will they go Arvell Reese? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Let's see what they pick. Okay, actually, hold on. Before the Giants pick, the Kansas City Chiefs just trade up to number 6, and you have to think that is going to be for Arvell Reese. The New York Giants have a pick, though, and we're about to go to commercial break, so we'll see what happens there. But the Chiefs just traded up to number 6, and I think it will be for Arvell Reese, which is kind of a best-case scenario for a team that had a down year last year. So let's wait and see. Things can change here. All right, so I think it was they traded away a 5th-round pick to move up 3 spots. I don't know if that's 100% accurate, but that feels like a very cheap trade up. I mean, again, it's only to move up a couple spots, but still, only getting a 5th-round pick from Cleveland, if that was the trade, is a little bit cheap. But yeah, I think they're going to take Arvell Reese. I don't know who the Giants are going to take. All right, here we go. Giants pick is in. Who are they going to take? This might be Jordan Tyson or an offensive tackle. Oh, they go with Arvell Reese. Okay. Okay, so what did the Chiefs trade up for then? All right, guys, this thing has just gotten really confusing. I don't know what's going to happen. The Giants just took Arvell Reese, which is like, you got to think he's just going to play off-ball linebacker for this team. You just took Abdul Carter last year. You already have Brian Burns. I mean, you're going to get rid of Kayvon Thibodeau, so it's like you can rotate him a little bit playing off the edge, but I'm a little surprised here. And then the other question now is like, what did Kansas City trade up for if they weren't going to get Arvell Reese? Or did they think the Giants were going to skip on Arvell and then the Chiefs would trade up for Reese? I don't know what's going on. I'm so confused right now, but this is the chaos of the NFL draft. And man, Arvell Reese going to the Giants, that is an embarrassment of riches on that defensive line with a lot of young talent. You got to think he's going to play a lot of off-ball linebacker, though, which, by the way, he's a really good fit with this defense. But, boy, I'm stunned right now, guys. I'm stunned. Okay, also, the trade is official. It was a 6-for-9 swap, 3rd-round pick and 5th-round pick. Man, if the Chiefs made that move because they wanted Arvell Reese, which you'd have to think that wouldn't be the case, but I'm interested. All right, here we go. We got the commissioner walking up now for the Chiefs pick. By the way, this whole 8-minute thing, absolutely hate it. Just go back to 10 minutes. This is way too fast for all of us. This is a lot to take in. All right, Chiefs, who are we taking? They said something about an offensive lineman here. Okay, they actually go with Mansour Delane here. Again, I think that they probably thought they were going to get Arvell Reese. Again, I'm speculating here, but I really think that they traded up for Arvell Reese, expecting the Giants to skip on him and go with a receiver or something like that. But they actually end up going with Arvell Reese, so I think their backup plan was to take Mansour Delane, which honestly, like, I'm not sure if he would have made it to them at number 9, but with Ruben Bain still on the board here, with Sonny Styles still on the board here, with Caleb Downs still on the board here, going Mansour Delane here early at number 6 is a little bit surprising, but it does feel a massive need here for the Kansas City Chiefs. They had to fix up their secondary by adding some plus talent, adding in Mansour Delane to that room. It makes a lot of sense. So good pickup for them, but I wonder if that was the ultimate game plan. I'm not sure it was, but we'll see if it was. All right, the Commanders are up now, and who are they going to take? I think this could either be Caleb Downs or Sonny Styles. I also wouldn't be surprised if this is a Jordan Tyson pickup as well, but I haven't heard a ton of that, so I'm going to assume it's one of those 2 Ohio State guys. Or it could also be Ruben Bain. He's still available somehow. All right, here we go. Who are they taking? All right, they go with the linebacker, Sonny Styles here. They give them their probably Bobby Wagner replacement. I'm a little surprised with this pickup, though. I would have honestly thought they would have went Caleb Downs just because they brought in Leo Chanel, but it's a really good pickup. All right, New Orleans Saints up at number 8. I'm thinking this is probably going to be Jordan Tyson, maybe, or well, I have no clue who they could take here. Jermon McCoy, I don't think he's in play. I don't think Downs is in play. Let's see who they take. Okay, the Saints do actually go with Jordan Tyson. Interesting. This was something that we didn't really hear a ton of buzz about. We heard a lot of Jordan Tyson in New York buzz, but this pick makes a lot of sense. This pick makes a lot of sense. You have Chris Olave on one side, now you can pair up Jordan Tyson on the other side. It felt like for a while there, Tyson was falling down draft or mock drafts because of the injury thing, but it just felt like the NFL was like the talent is too good. And for him to go to New Orleans, it does make a ton of sense. I mean, he is just a fantastic football player. That's going to fill in a big need for that New Orleans Saints team at that wide receiver 2 spot. Now you have Chris Olave pairing up with Jordan Tyson. You still have a really good tight end. Young quarterback's got some real weapons, and Travis Etienne now in the fold too. So and 2 young tackles. That offense is really coming together. We'll see how that defense performs, but I like this pick for the New Orleans Saints. I think Tyson genuinely has wide receiver 1 upside in this league if he can put everything together from an injury perspective. All right, Cleveland is on the clock. This has been a crazy top 10 so far. I've never done anything like this in my mock drafts. I'm thinking this is probably going to be an offensive lineman here, though. All right, they go with Spencer Fano here. This pick makes a lot of sense. They spent a lot of capital this offseason just reworking that interior of the offensive line, but your tackles are still kind of a work in progress. You do have Titus Howard who could play right tackle for you, but I kind of wonder if you just keep him at guard and then have DeJuan Jones play a left tackle. They do have a second first-round pick and an additional third-round pick from the trade with the Chiefs. So Browns making some nice moves here, but this could be your right tackle of the future, and I think he is the perfect player for the Browns. There was a lot of buzz around Monroe Freeling, a lot of buzz around Caden Proctor. All that did not come to fruition, and it makes a ton of sense for this Browns team because you look at some of the past flops in recent years of the offensive tackle spot. These have been heavy-footed guys. But when it comes to Spencer Fano, very light-footed football player who has great movement skills, and I think Cleveland got a really good football player there. So I love the pick for the Browns, and you got additional 3rd and 5th round pick in this class. So I'm loving what the Browns are doing. Back-to-back years where they did a trade back, and they've gotten a lot more capital out of it. So good for them. All right, we're moving very fast. The New York Giants are up now, and I got to think this is either going to be an offensive lineman or a receiver. Okay, they go with Francis Maui-Noah, which is a great pickup for them. They get a nice little right tackle there for their franchise. But I really like this pick here for the New York Giants. He's probably going to play guard for you. Probably not going to play tackle. But, I mean, he could be your long-term play at tackle for Jermaine Illuminor. By the way, the Dallas Cowboys just traded up 1 spot to flip with the Miami Dolphins. And there's 2 defensive players who are on the table here for Dallas in Caleb Downs and Ruben Bain. A little bit surprised why they would trade up because you could have just gotten one of those 2 guys, but they do make the move, and you got to think it's probably for Caleb Downs, I would expect, but it could be for Bain as well. All right, so the Cowboys moved 2 5th round picks, 177 and 180 to get up to number 11. Again, I'm kind of like, why if you're Dallas, you could have gotten any of the defensive players, but they must have really liked one person specifically, and they look happy. They're celebrating in the war room. Jerry Jones looks thrilled right now, and I'd be happy if I'm them too. They're about to get a hell of a football player in either Caleb Downs or Ruben Bain Jr., so I'm excited for them. All right, here we go. Dallas Cowboys, first of their 2 picks. They did trade up 1 spot for this one. I do think this is probably going to be either Caleb Downs or Ruben Bain. Let's see who they take, though. They do go with Caleb Downs. What an awesome pickup for the Dallas Cowboys. I'm absolutely fucking hyped. One of the best players in this class. This was a genius draft decision from the Dallas Cowboys. I tell you what, I thought the Dallas Cowboys were going to have to trade up for this pick, but they just got to me is the 2nd best player in this draft without having to trade up. What an awesome pickup for both sides, and I got to imagine Caleb Downs is fucking thrilled right now. I'm hyped. This was the worst defense in the NFL last year. Point blank simple, the worst defense. You now have Rashawn Gary. You now have, oh my God, Caleb Downs, man. He is going to fit this team so unbelievably well. Just a captain in the defense. I mean, I'm a Cowboys fan. I literally have shivers right now. I literally have shivers. This was the player I wanted, and I didn't think he'd be here at 12, but somehow the NFL let him get this far, and he is going to be the perfect football player for the Dallas Cowboys defense. I'm stunned right now. I'm so fucking happy, bro. I know that you guys probably don't care about the Cowboys as much, but I'm telling you what, man, this Cowboys defense, they just so badly needed a football player like this. A complete just captain in the middle, somebody who's so stout versus the run. They got to get a linebacker, which is their one really big need remaining. But, I mean, he is just going to make up for so many of the mistakes this team had. Last year, their safeties were freaking Donovan Wilson and Malik Hooker. Now you have a secondary that has Jalen Thompson, now Caleb Downs. You get Hooker back again. I mean, this is awesome stuff by them. I'll stop talking about them, though. All right, but the Miami Dolphins are now on the board here, and this one, you got to think this might be Ruben Bain Jr. here. They could really use somebody with a bit more size and power on that defensive line, especially if you're going to pair him up opposite of Chop Robinson. Let's see who they take. Don't forget, they also picked up 2 additional 5th-round picks, so that's really, they have so many picks in this class. It's ridiculous. Oh, they actually go with Caden Proctor. Oh, my goodness. I don't, oh, okay. Wow. I don't like that pick at all. I don't like that pick at all. Last year, you took Jonah Savainea, a slow-footed tackle, now guard. Now you're going to take Caden Proctor, who's 350 fucking pounds, who, you know, is a bit lighter-footed for somebody of his size. But, again, we're talking about for somebody of his size. He's 350-something pounds. And I'm like, are you going to play him at guard over Jonah? Because I don't know, but he's going to be better than Jonah Savainea. This feels like almost the polar opposite of what Mike McDaniel would do. They typically have gone for like more agile, quick-footed guys. Then last year they kind of flipped it up with Jonah. Now they're flipping it here again with Caden Proctor. I'm gonna have to assume he's gonna play guard because I don't really need a tackle that badly. Maybe right tackle, perhaps. But they just said something that I actually agree with. This was a statement pick for them. They want to be big. They want to be physical. They want to be nasty. They got that with Proctor. If Savaiinaea can get things together, he's got the size and the power. Him and Proctor would be pretty sweet, but I'd have to assume this is to replace Jonah Savaiinaea. A little surprised they didn't go with Bain, though, because he's just the better football player, in my opinion. But still, interesting pick. By the way, before we get to the Rams pick here at 13, Ruben Bain Jr. is not a top 10, top 12 pick, and I got to be honest with you, I think he could go easily in these next 2 picks, but I think that he's a top 10 player in this class. It feels like teams are really buying a lot of stock into that arm length, which I can understand. It's a big deal, but I am a little bit surprised that team wouldn't give him a shot. I think he's a hell of a football player. All right, 13 here with the Los Angeles Rams. They're talking a lot about Ty Simpson. I think that would be a little bit unlikely, though. Oh my God, the Los Angeles Rams just took Ty Simpson. Oh my God. I will be honest with you, while I think Ty Simpson's a first-round caliber quarterback. I've been on that the entire offseason, but I never thought at 13. This is very surprising for me. You are a team that is going all in for a title, and I get it. You're not going to have a 13th pick anytime soon, but next year's class looks to be really good. I'm a little surprised by this, and honestly, this is 1,000% why he went into this year's draft, and I think that we probably should have bought more stock into it because he probably should have just stayed in college if it wasn't going to be for the Rams. But this is the perfect spot for Ty Simpson, though. He won't start in year 1. He might not even start year 2 or 3, so he gets to sit and just learn from Matthew Stafford for the next 2 to 3 years. You have to think the Rams talked to Ty Simpson about this before the draft process because, this is a massive shakeup for that team, but it's literally the perfect spot for him to go to. He gets to sit down, learn. It's the perfect offense to be in. This is an awesome pick for him. I just think for the Rams, you could take Mekhi Lemon here. I get it. You have Puka and Devontae, but I don't know. I'm of 2 ways because this Rams team didn't have a ton of needs, but taking a quarterback, especially like Ty Simpson, is a very risky pick. All right, here we go. Baltimore Ravens up now at 14. I feel like this might be Kenyon Sadiq here. Oh, no, they actually go Olave Vega-Ione. Good pickup, man. He's just a damn solid football player. Even though they did add to that offensive line, Vega-Ione is a massive upgrade for that unit. You got to think about an offense now that is going to have Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, 2 really solid tackles, and now Vega-Ione, just a freaking unit that pushes people around. But one of the best pass protectors in this class. It's a really good pickup for this team. But now we got the Buccaneers on the clock here, and you got to think this is like 100% best case scenario because you still have Ruben Bain Jr. on the board. Jermon McCoy is also still available. Kenyon Sadiq's also available too, so there's a lot of different ways they can go here with this pick. All right, here we go. Tampa Bay Buccaneers pick is in. I think this is probably going to be Ruben Bain because he still somehow is on the board, which is crazy to me. All right, they do go Ruben Bain Jr., which is like a dream pickup for this team, in my opinion. Yeah, they just said that on the broadcast. I don't think in a million years they ever thought Ruben Bain Jr. was going to somehow make it to 15. There was mocks where he was inside the top 3. So for him to fall all the way down to 15 in a position that they had to address, by the way, their edge rushers, even their linebackers are not great. A lot of mock drafts we've done on this channel and other channels I've been on has been Akeem Mesidor because they just need an edge rusher, but who's the next best one after Bailey and Arvell Reese? Well, it's Ruben Bain. After Arvell Reese, Ruben Bain, and Bailey, who's the next best one? It's I guess it might be Akeem Mesidor. But here at 15, Bain falls all the way down into your laps, and this is an absolute layup for the Buccaneers. So 100% love this pick for them. All right, here we go. New York Jets, second pick of the draft. Still some really good football players available, including Mekhi Lemon. Let's see if they go that route, though. Okay, they go Kenyon Sadiq here. I guess they're going to do a lot of 2 tight end sets. Pretty interesting pickup. I'm not mad at the pick because Kenyon Sadiq is an absolute freak of nature. And, Mason Taylor, while a really good prospect at tight end, I don't think he's the same prospect as Kenyon Sadiq, but they're not too far apart. I think that this is going to be a team that's going to want to run more 2 tight end sets. And I guess their logic is we can get an athletic freak like Sadiq, have 2 young tight ends to build around in the future. The Patriots for many years have those great 2 tight ends and whatnot. So we'll see if that ends up being what they do here. Little surprised with the pick. I thought this was going to be a receiver like Mekhi Lemon. All right, here we go. Detroit Lions pick is in. Let's see who it is. All right, they go with Blake Miller. See, I always kind of felt like this was somebody that they would definitely like. Somebody with a lot of playing experience, the size, the nastiness, the physicality. This pick doesn't surprise me at all. This feels very much so like a typical Dan Campbell, this whole regime. This is what they do. They don't really go off of what the consensus big board says, although Blake Miller has been rising up big boards. He wasn't somebody who was thought of as like Spencer Fano or these other guys. Monroe Freeling has been moving up boards. He hasn't been taken, by the way, yet. But this makes a lot of sense here. Probably kick Penei Sewell to left tackle. And now you get somebody with a ton of just nasty reps, a ton of play experience. This is a good pickup for the Detroit Lions. I've been kind of thinking this one was going to happen. In fact, my last prediction mock draft, I actually made that pick, and I got it right. So good for me. We'll quickly back up. The Minnesota Vikings are up. I'm thinking this is probably going to be Dylan Thieneman. They just said it on the broadcast. It's like, it's kind of the chalk pick, but it's just the pick that a lot of people think is the right pick. Oh, they go with Caleb Banks. Okay, that's a surprising pickup by them. He is the like highest upside guy in this class, but he is also like a super low floor guy because he just can't stay healthy. Bit of a shocking pick here. I can't lie. I did not see this one coming. But, man, Caleb Banks is just one of these dudes where it's like, man, if he can just put it together, stay healthy for a full season, we're talking about somebody who legitimately could be a Pro Bowl, all-pro caliber guy. So Vikings taking a bit of a big swing here. It's a position of need for this team for sure. I would have gone with the safety Dylan Thieneman because I just think he's the safer prospect. Oh, and by the way, the Dallas Cowboys just flipped with the Philadelphia Eagles. Interesting pick by them. I'm intrigued to see what happens there. But yeah, the Carolina Panthers are now up on the clock, so we'll see what happens. So Philly trade up to 20. I gotta think that could be for Mekhi Lemon or Denzel Boston, knowing all the stuff going on with AJ Brown. I'm a little surprised to see Dallas trade back to a division rival, but honestly, like, if you are okay with the player they think that they're going to take, and in this class specifically, it might be worth it. I wonder what Dallas got. Probably, I would say maybe a 5th-round pick just to kind of recoup some of the assets they lost from the trade up with the Miami Dolphins. So I would assume that would be it. But if they got like a 4th or a 3rd, that could be pretty big. But before we get to that Eagles pick, here come the Carolina Panthers. Could this be Mekhi Lemon, Omar Cooper, maybe one of those safeties? I'm intrigued to see what they do here. Okay, they actually go with Monroe Freeling. I'm assuming this is probably to be their future left or right tackle. I wonder if this is probably to prepare for life after some of the injuries they've had on that left side. Maybe they kick him over to play right tackle. I mean, their tackles, they had some players who need a new contract. They have some injuries going on there. So Monroe could just be kind of a big swing and just say, let's develop this guy for a year or two and then let him be our future franchise tackle. So I understand this pickup. All right, but man, right back to back. Here we go. Philadelphia's back up on the or not back up, but this is their first pick. Philly's on the clock here. Got to think maybe Mekhi Lemon or Dylan Thieneman could be the pick. Let's see. Okay, they go with Mekhi Lemon, the AJ Brown trade. Got to think it's happening pretty soon. This pickup makes a lot of sense. You got Devontae Smith kind of developing into being your number one go-to guy. Now you got Mekhi Lemon going to play a lot in the slot. I'll be honest with you, though. I'm a little surprised they didn't go with like a Denzel Boston for somebody with a little bit more size. You look at their receiving core right now, you got Hollywood Brown, you got Dontavian Wicks, you got Devontae Smith, who's relatively tall, but he's not very like bulky or thick or anything like that. And Denzel Boston is the only guy, you know, in the first round who you would have considered. But yeah, Mekhi Lemon to this team, I mean, he gives them a premier weapon. This is a really good pickup. Eagles just go best player available, and they do it every year, and they get somebody who I think is an absolute stud in Mekhi. It's a good pickup, though, for Philadelphia. I mean, they did, I think the trade was 2 4th-round picks, which for Dallas is pretty damn good. They needed some extra draft capital, so to get some extra picks is nice. I do wonder, though, if a guy like Jalen Hurts can maximize the potential of Mekhi. Not to say that Hurts is a bad quarterback or anything of that sort of phrasing, but just sort of his play style. Like, what A.J. Brown did so well for Jalen Hurts was that downfield, 50-50 jump balls, just big explosive plays. Mekhi, while he can do that, he is more so somebody who's going to do a lot of stuff underneath, quick pattern. Again, we compare him a lot to Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't know if Hurts with an Amon-Ra type guy would be the best to maximize Mekhi, but same time, new offensive coordinator, we'll see Hurts adjust. Mekhi is going to be very successful on this team. But will he be A.J. Brown? Obviously not. Devontae Smith is hopefully going to be that guy. So good pickup for Philadelphia. I'm intrigued to see how this one works out. The hometown Pittsburgh Steelers are about to make their pick. By the way, tomorrow morning, I'll do a bit more of a comprehensive grading of every single pick. This is just kind of my quick thoughts on each pick. All right, here we go. Pittsburgh Steelers. Who are they taking? Okay, they take Maxi Honachar. Interesting. I like the pickup. I mean, he's the ultimate swing at tackle, which I do find a bit fascinating because they just did that with I mean, not just, but Broderick Jones is kind of a swing as well, sort of an inexperienced tackle that, they trusted, and he didn't really do that much. But Max is a little bit more experienced. He's somebody that just needs a bit more time to develop. And honestly, maybe he could sit behind Broderick Jones for a year, maybe. I don't think so. He might be a starter right away. But I do wonder if he's going to play left or right tackle. Obviously, you do have Troy Fatanu there. I'm going to assume you're going to kick Troy to left tackle and have Max continue to play right tackle because he is somebody who is very new to the sport. So I think kicking him over to left tackle might be a bit of a mistake. But this is a nice little pickup here for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think he's a really good football player that I'm very happy to see him get drafted round 1. He's way too talented, has a ton of upside, played really good at the Senior Bowl, had a great year. So I like this pickup for Pittsburgh. All right, here we go. Los Angeles Chargers. Who are they going to take here? All right, they go with Akeem Mesidor. Really good pickup for them. They needed somebody off the edge for the long term. It's a good pickup for them. I mean, Khalil Mack, only he's on, a 1-year deal, I want to say. So they need that long-term plan. I got to imagine this is sort of somebody who can step in right away, productive player last year, can help them win now. But you compare him up with Tuli Tuipulotu. He's already an adult. You can literally plug and play him in there immediately. So this is a nice pickup here for the Chargers, especially because, their board didn't fall perfectly for them. By the way, a bit of a subplot here. Jermon McCoy hasn't been taken yet, so I do wonder if Dallas would consider him here to complete their secondary in some ways. Jermon McCoy with Caleb Downs. If McCoy can stay healthy, he's a fantastic football player, so we'll see if he goes here pretty soon. There's a couple corner-needy teams, and I think Dallas is one of them, so we'll see. All right, here we go. Dallas Cowboys back on the board here. They picked up some additional day 3 pickups from the Eagles trade. Now I wonder if this could be Jermon McCoy, maybe Dylan Thieneman, maybe a receiver with the George Pickens stuff going on. We'll see about that one. Let's see who they take, though. Okay, they go Malachi Lawrence. Pretty fun pickup here for the Cowboys. Yeah, he's a very explosive, athletic pass rusher with a lot of good moves to him, good skill, good bend around the corner. He's going to be better as a run defender, but on this Cowboys defense where you're going to be more in that 3-4 outside linebacker role, where you have Ezraku, who's a good run defender, Quinnen, Otito, Kenny Clark. Little surprised they didn't go linebacker here, but I do think linebacker is going to be something they're going to try and pick up someday on day 2, but they're going to need some help at linebacker. But this does give them that really good straight-up pass rusher. You add in Caleb Downs now. Pretty good haul for the Dallas Cowboys, I got to say. All right, Cleveland Browns on the clock at 24. Their first pick was the Spencer Fano pick. I got to assume this might be a receiver. Both Omar Cooper and Denzel Boston are both available here. So that would make some sense for them to go with that route at 24. All right, here we go. What they going to do here? Okay, they go with KC Concepcion. Good pickup, man. He's twitchy, good with the ball in his hands. But yeah, you can use him on special teams. You can put him in the slot. You can put him on the outside. He's going to give Shador Sanders or Deshaun Watson a real weapon out there. So now you're looking at an offense that has their tackles now, has their interior offensive line, has their running back. They got to find the quarterback of the future, obviously, but now you think you got one of your wide receivers for sure fixed up now. So we'll see what this team does, with the rest of their receiving core, because there's still more questions to be had there and who ends up being their starting quarterback. But I like the pickup a lot for the Cleveland Browns. All right, here we go. Chicago Bears. Both the top 2 safeties are here, so you may think that would be the pick. All right, they do go with Dylan Thieneman here, which makes a lot of sense. He fills in a lot of their needs in the back end of their defense. It's a good pickup. We've done a lot of mock drafts. They've taken Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. Thieneman fell to them as somebody who could have been a top 15 pick, so really good for them. But, you lost Jaquan Brisker this offseason. You lost Kevin Byard, so you replaced him with Kobe Bryant. Now you bring in Dylan Thieneman, who's going to play a little bit more close to the line of scrimmage, can also play some deep. It's felt like the Bears offseason, for the most part, has just been kind of like retooling some of the losses they lost in free agency. The retirement of Drew Dalman, losing both your starting safeties, losing your linebacker. It feels like they've been doing a lot of their investments on just kind of filling in those holes, which is a shame because they haven't really addressed the defensive line a ton so far in this draft. And there's still some questions on the left side of their offensive line. But for them to get Dylan Thieneman, who I think is a fantastic football player and can make up for a ton of your mistakes at 25, is really, really good value. So I like the pickup a lot. All right, we got some trades going on. The Texans trade, I don't know if they traded up or traded back, but Texans trade at 26. So actually they would trade up. They just flip with the Bills. And also the Miami Dolphins flipped with the 49ers, if I'm not mistaken. So pretty interesting stuff here. Let's see what happens. All right, Texans trade up. They move up 2 spots to jump what was San Francisco, but now is Miami. I think this could be for an offensive lineman, but let's see. This could also be Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, too. Oh, they go with Kalen Rutledge. Okay, I'm a little surprised. I didn't think you had to trade up for him, but they take Kalen Rutledge. That's going to help out their offensive line a ton. Little surprised with that pick, especially with Emmanuel Pregnon still being on the board. I just think he's the better football player, but they must have identified that they like the tenacity, the feistiness, the want to hurt people that Kalen Rutledge has, and so that's a good fit there for Houston. You want to build up an identity, you want to build up just a offensive line that wants to punish people. Rutledge is the perfect guy that's just like, I'm going to put you on your ass, put you in the dirt. All right, so the Miami Dolphins pick is in. They moved up from pick 29 to 27. They flipped with San Francisco, probably for like a day 3 pick. A lot of really good options here for them to take. They could take Colton Hood, Jermon McCoy still on the board, so that's a possibility. Omar Cooper and Denzel Boston are both here. Remember, they went with Caden Proctor, a pick that, admittedly speaking, I don't love, but if they take Jermon McCoy here, I like this pick a lot more because I think Jermon's freaking awesome if he's healthy, but let's see who they take here. Sorry, I think I said 29. I meant 30, by the way. All right, here we go. Who are they taking? Oh, they take my guy, Chris Johnson. Hey, Chris. Chris Johnson from San Diego State. I'm a little surprised they had to trade up for him, but awesome pickup, man. He's a great football player. He's going to fit their scheme perfectly. It's a good pickup for the man. They needed cornerback help desperately badly. He's really good in zone coverage, but he also can work a little bit in some man, too. Not really press man. It's not really his go-to, but he can survive out there. He's got a good athletic profile, physical against the run. This is a multi-year rebuild here for the Miami Dolphins, and they have a lot of work they're going to be doing on day 2 and day 3. But to get Chris Johnson and to get Caden Proctor, it feels like you're just kind of plugging in spots of positions of need here. Again, I would have probably went with Jermon McCoy, but it is what it is. By the way, Patriots just traded up from number 31 to 28, so it looks like Buffalo moves back again. Interesting in-division trade, by the way. It's pretty funny how we all thought the beginning was going to be the hectic trades part, but now it's like every single pick has been traded these past few ones. So let's see what the Patriots do. A lot of good options still on the table for them. Receivers and Jermon McCoy if they want to take a big swing. Oh, they go with Caleb Lomu. Okay, that's kind of interesting. What does that mean for Will Campbell? So the way I'm reading this one, it's tough. Like, I'm just thinking about this now. We'll see what they end up saying in a couple weeks or a couple days when there's press conferences and stuff like that. My guess about this pick is that this is sort of a swing tackle for year 1. I'd imagine he's probably going to play right tackle for you, even though he's played left tackle at Utah. But he probably needs a year or 2 of just being in a strength and conditioning program, adding more muscle, being a bit more firm in the run game, pushing people around a bit more. He's a solid pass protector, though, that just needs to add a little bit more weight and muscle. So he gets to learn from Morgan Moses for a year. And, you know, if Will Campbell ends up not being a good tackle for you and you are forced to kick him inside to play guard, then Lomu can be your long-term left tackle, and then you're just going to have to find out who your long-term right tackle is. So bit surprised they traded up for him. Maybe they didn't feel comfortable that he'd make it to 31, but a lot of good players on the board still, and Caleb Lomu was the pick. So pretty fun stuff here. We still got, 4 more picks to go, but I'm just kind of thinking out loud here. Like, Jermon McCoy is not off the table yet. Colton Hood, Omar Cooper, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, Gabe Yakis, Keldrick Falk hasn't gone yet. I thought he would be gone by now. Denzel Boston. I don't know if I said Omar Cooper, but he's still on the board too. So a lot of really good, talented players here, and only 4 picks left, so we'll see which one of them goes. All right, well, the New York Jets also just traded into the back of round 1. I pray to God that's not for Carson Beck. Niners just traded back multiple times. Jets are probably looking to get a 5th-year option. I wonder who it's for. Maybe it is for Jermon McCoy. Let's see who it is. Chiefs are on the clock, though, first. All right, here we go. Kansas City, you're on the table. Oh, they go Peter Woods. Interesting. First defensive tackle off the board. It's a good pickup for them. I mean, they have, obviously, Chris Jones. They have the Tennessee guy they took last, Omar Norman Lott. They brought in Tonga as well. But if you're just kind of looking for that gap penetrator, that guy that could be that disruptive force on the inside, I think that's kind of what you're going to use Peter Woods as. He's sort of a rotational piece, but he's a hell of a player, man. He was somebody who would have been a top 10 pick if he was available. I guess if 2024 was as good as 2025, but 25 tape wasn't as good as 24. But still, a lot of talent, a lot of player here. So for the Chiefs, I think they've had a really good draft. Mansour Delane and Peter Woods, pretty good stuff. All right, here we go. New York Jets trade back into round 1. I kind of think maybe this is for a receiver, perhaps. A lot of really good receiving options still available. So let's see what they do here. I don't think this is for a quarterback. I'd be stunned if it was. All right, they get Omar Cooper. What great value here at 30 for them. I mean, this is somebody that we had mocked them at number 16. So for him to fall to 30, The New York Jets, man, I mean, getting David Bailey, who should be a good player off the edge, adding in Kenyon Sadiq to where now you can run these awesome 2 tight end sets with him and the Mason Taylor, and now you trade back into round 1 so that way you get Omar Cooper. And by the way, they jumped the Buffalo Bills, their division rivals, who I don't think they would have taken Omar Cooper, but still, maybe they would have considered it. What a good draft for the New York Jets. And by the way, they still have the 44th overall pick, too, from the Dallas Cowboys trade. So I'm liking what the Jets are doing, man. By the way, I think the Tennessee Titans just traded back into round 1, too, with the Buffalo Bills. Okay, let's see. Maybe they could also be going for, well, they don't need a receiver. Maybe they could be going for a linebacker or an edge rusher, Gabe Yakis, maybe? I'm intrigued to see what Tennessee does here. A whole bunch of trades here in the back of round 1. What is happening right now? All right, here we go. 2 more picks. A lot of good players here. Let's see who the Titans take. Okay, they go with Keldrick Falk. Interesting. I like the swing here from the team, man. This is a good football player with his best ball is still to come. He's young. He's talented. Good pickup here for the Titans. I like their draft, man. You can use him a bit inside. You can play him off the edge. I mean, this is somebody that Robert Saleh can just honestly develop for multiple years. I mean, this is the Titans team that's not going anywhere anytime soon. They're not going to win a championship, so why not take a big swing here on Keldrick Falk? And, I mean, now you have Jermaine Johnson. You have Keldrick Falk. Again, you're going to move him inside a lot. You have Jeffrey Simmons. It's a good pickup, man, especially to get him in the back of round 1. I'm intrigued to see what they gave up, but they only moved up like 4 spots in the back of round 1, so they maybe gave up like a 6th or 7th round pick, but still pretty good pickup here by the Titans. By the way, every single trade has been traded, or every single pick has been traded from picks 26 to 31, besides the Chiefs pick, but that pick was traded with the Los Angeles Rams prior to this draft. So crazy. My head is flustered right now. All right, last pick of the video. I am unbelievably tired, but holy moly, Seahawks, what are they going to do here? They didn't trade their pick. They stuck here and picked. Will this be Jadarian Price? Could this be Jermod McCoy? This would be a very Seattle Seahawks pick of them to go with Jermod McCoy here, or Colton Hood, and feel really good about it. Let's see what they do. By the way, the Make-A-Wish stuff they do is absolutely awesome. Okay, they do go Jadarian Price. They needed that running back. They filled it up here. Good way to end off day 2. Good way. But guys, let me know in the comment section below, what are your thoughts on day 1? Tomorrow morning, I'll be back to give you guys some grades, so stay tuned for that. Love you guys. Peace.